Hare Krishna, liebe Gäste, liebe Devotees, ein großes, warmes Willkommen zu unserem Sonntagsprogramm hier im Krishna-Tempel Zurich. Hare Krishna, dear guests, dear devotees, a very, very big welcome to our Sunday program here at our Krishna Temple in Zurich. Is anyone here for the first time? Special welcome also for you also, everyone who is here for the first time. So our Sunday program is as follows. We will now have a talk on Krishna consciousness till 5 o'clock. Then there will be our vegetarian feast. At 6:15 there will be a guided mantra meditation. At 7 o'clock temple ceremony. And from 8 o'clock onwards there will be more kirtan, more singing of mantras. For our today's talk, we are here happy to invite His Grace Harikatha Prabhu. Please welcome him with a big Haribol. I think some of you who are coming here regularly, you have seen him maybe in the entrance. He is usually in the temple shop. Prabhu, he is originally from Croatia and living here in Switzerland for around 11 years now. And he came to Krishna consciousness in 2009. Also with his wife, Loka Pavani Marachi. They both are engaged. When they came to Switzerland, they are engaged here in this temple with lot of services. Particularly Harikatha Prabhu, in the temple shop, he's looking after the temple shop, also giving japa meditations on Sundays, also doing services on the altar, and also giving courses. We have, for the temple, we have a site called Zurich CVS, College of Vedic Studies, and Prabhu is also giving their courses, like a course series going on with the name Discovery, teachings on some of the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhu is engaged in many, many different activities in this service, and we are happy, very happy that Prabhu is going to give the talk on the subject, all the friends you need for the journey to succeed. So this will be the topic. Before we start, two requests, please come more closer. And we'll ask about the translation, über die Übersetzung. Braucht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung? Braucht niemand eine deutsche Übersetzung? Okay. Just wanted to also let you know, up in the first floor, in the seminar room, there is also a kids program. Every Sunday we have, in this time for the children, they have some programs. Also today, if someone is interested, they are doing some Christmas presents. So the children, they are also invited to go there. Then I wish you a very happy Sunday. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you everyone for coming today for this Sunday class. How many of you are here for this first time? Okay, very good. Okay, this is working or?
It's
okay.
losing connections.
Hmm.
I will check my.
Sure. Okay, we will try to. Okay. Well, what to do? I will try to present to you a journey today, and it's oddly titled, All the Friends You Need for Your Journey to Succeed. And where do we go? I cannot show you right now, but maybe you can see it like this, but it's too small. Okay, almost impossible. Okay, very good. Can you all see? Can you recognize this place? Not this one. Anyways, we are going to Mount Everest. And this place is 8,848 meters above the sea level. So if you know anything about ascending to Himalayas, I certainly didn't know anything about this before preparing for this class. So if you know anything about this, you will know that you need to first go to Kathmandu, which is in Nepal, and that's already on 1,400 meters. And after that, you need to book a flight to, what's the place, Lukla, which is on 2,800 meters above the sea level. And the airport in Lukla is considered hardest runway to land an airplane in the world. I have no idea why, but maybe you can see it there on the picture. Yeah, please.
Do you have to book a flight, or can't you climb to Lukla? Or is it impossible to get to Lukla without a plane?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I'm not expert on this, but as far as I know, it's very, very difficult. So majority of people who go there for a hike to the summit, they just book it like that. And you will see shortly why, if I can show you that. We have some technical issues, but okay, this is great. I'll just need to switch this into that one. Maybe into, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. So let's try this again. This is where we are going, right? And I said, yeah, hardest runway to land in the whole world. Again, no idea why it is so. But yeah, and from there, you start your journey to Himalayas, which will take you actually 14 days, 12 to 14 days. You go through scenery that looks like this. And after these 12 to 14 days, depending on how quick you are, you will reach a base camp. And this base camp is actually the beginning of your journey to the top. So these base camps are on 5,200 meters above sea level. So you can imagine, I mean, the highest peak here in Switzerland, I think it's something like 4,500, Mont Blanc or something like that. And from there, so base camp, you can see there. I don't know if everyone can see this. From base camp to the top, you need 40 days to reach the top. And the main reason is, well, yes, you need to carry a lot of stuff because it's a big hike. But main reason is because you don't have enough red blood cells in your body to have enough oxygen when you reach the top. So in these 40 days, your body will adjust so that you can reach the top. You will create more red blood cells, and then you will be able to breathe with some extra oxygen masks on the top. You can imagine how hard it is, right? So, of course, this is not a journey for faint of heart. It's not really walk in the park. It's really a difficult thing to do. And I'm using this as analogy to our spiritual journey, spiritual path throughout our lives, right? And you see, in order to begin, you first need to decide that you want to go, you want to take this journey, right? And you can otherwise enjoy maybe some, I don't know, sunny beaches, right? Why bother to go all the way to the top and then you're on the top and then what, right? So there needs to be a conscious decision that you want to go on this journey, right? And in other words, we need to decide to elevate our consciousness instead to gratify our senses with these material possessions and material relationships as well. And I would dare to say that everyone who is here in this room, we already booked our flight to Kathmandu. So we already took that decision. And this journey will definitely be a journey of discipline, but we can all do it. At least we can reach base camp, right? So it's mostly flat. And this discipline means we need to, we need to regulate our lives a bit more. And we definitely need to step out of the comfort zone. If you're in comfort zone, you're still here. So we need to voluntarily accept some difficulties along the way. And of course, once we reach the base camp, we will have sore muscles for sure, right? So we need to accept that. Okay, so once we do get to the base camp, again here, to get to the summit on your own, almost impossible. Because without proper training, without gear, without guidance of someone who already walked that path, I mean, we stand no chance. And so typically what people do, they go to this base camp and then they hire Sherpas. Maybe you heard of them. So these are guides who are guiding you all the way to the top. But these guides, they actually also carry all of your stuff. Otherwise, I mean, can you imagine you need to carry maybe 20 kilos of stuff? So you have everything you need to get to the top, plus all these challenges that you have to the top. And you are maybe doing this for the first time in your life. Impossible. So they are carrying this for us. So first thing we need to do when we are on our spiritual journey, we need to realize, hey, we need help. If we are puffed up to think we can do this alone, sure, we can try. And as far as my research goes, I think there was one Swedish guy who actually, believe it or not, cycled all the way from Sweden to here, to Himalayas, and then went without Sherpas on the top and back, and then went home. But, I mean, he's a special guy, right? So not everyone is like that.
He died later.
He died later.
From other places, not people.
Oh, okay, so there you go. Thank you for that. So what does the summit represent? It represents what we all want. We want to be loved, and we want to learn how to love, right? And so we want that perfect love, perfect happiness. And this perfect happiness can only be given to us, this relationship of love in perfect happiness can only be given to us by perfect personality, because that person will never misuse our trust. I think all of you know who we are talking about here. That's, of course, Supreme Personality of Love. God is a person, or as we like to call him here, Krishna. So we are all his parts and parcels, and we are all living, eternal living beings. And we are all pleasure-seeking. That's our nature. And he is already at that post. He's the only person who can give us such pleasure that we are hankering for, right? So, of course, to love God means that we need to love also all his parts and parcels. Otherwise, we are hypocrites, right? How can we try to rekindle love towards God and we don't love everybody else who is small part and parcel of him? But it also includes us. We need to learn how to love us as well, as part of God. So, goal is to rekindle this dormant love that we have at the deep core of our hearts and reestablish relationship with God. And this is, by the way, not love that you will find here in this material world. This is transcendental love. This is ever-growing, ever-fresh love. And basically, when you reach the top, reaching the top means jumping into the ocean of love towards God. That's what it is all about. So that's our goal. I know it's a tall order, but now that we finally set the goal, we will need all the help we can get from our friends, right? And this is the title, right? So I hope it will now start to make a little bit more sense what I'm trying to present here. So the first friend, maybe I chose a wrong picture, but anyways, first friend is good habits. And first friend comes in the form of good habits that are always pushing us forward, right? Even when we fall down, if we have some good habits, they will just pick us up and we will somehow or other continue our journey. What that means is that through these good habits that we cultivate, we will constantly be, at least on the platform where we are trying to raise our consciousness bit by bit, right? And and I would dare to say that, you know, as an example, if you try to rise early in the morning and you try to clean your body and mind as the first thing you do, then already you are having some really good habits in your life, because this will help you inevitably throughout the day. Maybe it will not solve all your problems, but it will equip you to cope with them. So it's already a different start, right? As for the others who maybe don't practice such good qualities, right? And sure, we have also some bad habits, bad friends that we pull along, and they come in various forms. I sure have a whole bunch of them. But nevertheless, even if we have those friends, and they're on this journey as well, well, maybe we can do something about them. Maybe we will try to find a way how to acquire good friends, good habits. And the trick that you need to learn, that this first friend, which is good habit, always likes to be in a company of a second friend, and that friend is, funnily enough, called association. So good association is our best friend in a sense to get good qualities and good habits from others. Because this is how it works. We get to associate with saintly persons or persons that we admire, and by being inspired in them, with them, then we don't even realize we pick up good qualities from them. This is what Vedic scriptures are telling us. Association is extremely powerful, the easiest way to acquire good habits and good qualities. At the same time, such personalities that we meet that have these good qualities, they will always be, you can easily recognize them. You will see in them that they're always kind. They're always very knowledgeable, but they're never pushing, you. They're trying to inspire you. They try to rekindle your love towards God in a gentle way, and at the same time they are very, very, introspective. They are doing really hard work with their own hearts, cleaning their own hearts. So what I'm trying to say, they are really walking their talk. They're not really, just selling you some story. They are really doing everything that they are talking about. So having those two friends, good habits and good association, will inevitably lead you to the next friend. And that next friend is knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Is it knowledge how to increase our material comfort? Is it knowledge how to gratify our senses more? Or perhaps knowledge how to lord over this material world, how to control it, how to have these relationships in this material world that will always fulfill some needs for us. Is it that? Or is it something else? So, you see, this kind of knowledge is considered imperfect, what I just said, because it comes from human beings, and human beings in this material world, they all have 4 defects. First, they are always under the illusion of this material world. Then, second one, and this is a tough pill to swallow, if we are really honest, we'll admit that, hey, we have this tendency in us to cheat others, right? It's always there, maybe more or less, but it's present there, right? Then another thing that all human beings do in this, trapped in these human bodies, we commit mistakes. It's just only a natural thing, right? We all make mistakes. How can this knowledge that we have be perfect if we all make mistakes? And then to put icing on the cake, we have imperfect senses. So all that things combined, and we are trying to create our own knowledge. It will always be imperfect. So what we want perfect knowledge. We want knowledge that transcends this material world, that is beyond this world. So what transcends matter? Spirit. And it's always, that matter comes out of spirit. It's not the other way around, right? So this material world is created by spiritual energy. So we want to go to the source. And who is that source? Of course, it can only be one person, and that's God, Krishna. So our third friend is really cultivation of spiritual knowledge, because then we get all the answers to all the important questions, and those questions are who we are, where do we go when we die, how this world functions, what is the purpose, what is the goal of this life, right? And then, if we don't do that, there is always a danger that we become so to speak, easy targets for those who are manipulating, who have some knowledge, that present themselves as, some guides, and then because we don't have knowledge, then we just naively trust them, right? And so in that sense, unfortunately, there is quite a few false gurus, and typically a lot of persons who will misguide you. But we are very, very fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada sitting here with us, who brought all this knowledge to the West, so that we can all benefit from it. And he is the one who said that we should surrender to God using our intelligence, not surrender our intelligence, right? So just think of that as well. Okay, so next friend is a bit shy, and you can easily miss her, because if you're not careful, she always tends to, be somewhere behind the scenes. And her name is Good Attitude. So, they say that bad attitude is like a flat tire. You cannot go really anywhere unless you change it, right? So I was looking for some kind of picture to put with this statement, and coincidentally I just found a tire that is called Goodyear. If you have bad attitude, it's a bad year. It's definitely not good year, right? So our friend, Good Attitude, why is she important? Because she knows where to go, and she also knows how to get there. So basically, Good Attitude is like a signpost. It can show you which direction to go, right? And these directions, they are accept responsibilities, have considerations for others, do not compare yourself with others, try to see try to see good in others, try to be empathic listener, try to appreciate more everything around you, everyone around you, try to, and this is something also very, 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 very difficult to do, try to avoid criticism at any cost. This is so detrimental for our spiritual progress. And then, something I really like a lot, try to be enthusiastic about everything you do, especially your spiritual journey. We should be all enthusiastic about it. And then the most important thing, forget about all the other directions, this is the most important one. Try to be respectful and kind towards everyone, and don't expect the same treatment back. So that's the safest position you can take. Okay, so you see, our spiritual journey is a journey of loving devotion, and we have one other person constantly following us, and he's always in the shadow, so to speak, and very hard to see. So if we make him our friend, he will be incredibly useful, but should we fail, he will become our greatest enemy. I'm of course talking about mind. So if we talk about mind as a friend, then we must talk about controlled mind. So what happens if we don't have controlled minds? Mind being the central point for all the senses will then drag us all over the place. We will start to chase butterflies, right? And mind will also convince us to let go this demanding ascent to the summit in favor of warm beach that we established before, right? So if we manage to control our minds somehow, and well, if we know not to react to our thoughts, then we will not buy into the story which is constantly playing in our heads. This is the story. I don't know if you can all see it and you can read it. Maybe I can read it for you. So you're listening to the Internal Monologue FM with me, DJ Subconscious, playing your thoughts non-stop, uninterrupted, 24 hours a day, from the classics like What did I say? Did I say that? And golden old is like, am I a horrible person? To today's kids, what the hell am I doing with my life? And last one, am I hungry or am I just bored? We all have this non-stop, right? If we don't control our minds. So, if we do control our minds, then we will recognize that we are observers. We can see our thoughts coming in our head. We can hear this mind voice, but we can see that we are something else. And who are we if we are not our minds? Who are we all observing this? The answer is we are consciousness, right? We are individual persons, we are spirit souls, we are not our bodies, we are not even our minds, as I said. And this material world is definitely not our home. So still, if we manage somehow to control our minds and make this mind our friend, and really be focused on our journey, then mind will actually help us a great deal on a spiritual journey. It will be, super, super important friend. So in order to control the mind, we all need help from the next friend in a form of meditation. You see, of course, we have many different types of meditation, like different types of educational levels, kindergarten, elementary school, high school, undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, postdoctoral. So they all guide us towards the same goal. Goal is to elevate our consciousness. So according to the Vedic scriptures, most powerful form of meditation is mantra meditation. And because mantra has the potency to captivate the mind and thus give us some breathing room to recognize how we are not these bodies and not this mind, our friend, mantra meditation, will lead us to our best friend. And who is our best friend? God, of course, Krishna. But how can we associate with him if we are not qualified to see him? The answer is by chanting his names. Okay, and how much should we chant? As much as you can, as much as you want, as much as you are inspired to do, right? So, you see, Krishna invested all his energies in his name. So, actually, his name is our best friend. And there is no difference between God personally and his name. In fact, as soon as we say Krishna, according to the Vedic scriptures, Krishna is dancing on our tongue. We are not equipped to see him, but it doesn't change the fact that he is dancing on the tongue. He's immediately present. He's immediately here with us. And he's also in our hearts. We call that intuition, but actually that's him. And Vedic scriptures are telling us that out of all the mantras, there is only one that is Maha Mantra, or the greatest mantra. It goes Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this mantra certainly has a potency to captivate the mind, but most importantly, it's a form of a prayer where we ask God, please engage me in your service. So, only if we give ourselves in loving devotion or loving service to God and to all his parts and parcels, only then can we realize the true state of us being eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness, full of bliss. That's our true position. And you see, Holy Name is our best friend because Holy Name alone can bring us to the top. Not necessarily need anyone else. Only Holy Name, and he will bring you to the top. But unless we have company of some other friends, this journey might take a little bit longer then, right? Because we don't understand all the other things. So the next friend was with us from the beginning of our spiritual journey, but we failed to recognize her. In fact, we might even be ridiculed that we associate with her from time to time. And but nevertheless, she is there from the beginning, and she is, again, on the side, looking at us when we have some issues, like when we need to make a difficult jump, and she's there and she's pushing us always to make the jump. I'm, of course, talking about faith. So there is no question of starting spiritual journey if you don't invest a little faith in it. Faith is the first step. It's called Shraddha in Sanskrit. But you see, faith is also like a currency. Currency, in this world, if you want to buy things that you want, you need to give up some of the currency, right? You just give it up, you get things you want. But faith is different. Faith is you invest little faith in the holy name, and what you get back is more faith. Now you can even share that faith with others, and you get access to the holy name. And then the more you chant, more faith you get, and it's just ever growing eternal spiritual bank account. So this is how faith works. But as we progress with our journey towards the top, problem is that the more you go up, you have unfavorable winds blowing around, and those winds are called winds of doubts. And there is also snowstorms of reactions to our previous actions. So we need to deal with that. And all of those things are trying to knock us off our path to the top, right? So what we need to do is, first we need to be very humble to admit that we need help. Second, we need to be incredibly determined to go to the top. It cannot be just, let's try it. No, we need to be really, really determined to go to the top. And we need to protect our faith.
Kann Sandro mir helfen kommen? Roman ist nicht gekommen. Kann der Sandro mir bitte helfen kommen? Sandro.
Yeah, he will come. So we need to protect faith. I already mentioned that if we have association of great persons, then it will be easier to acquire all these good qualities, right? And so if you have association of all these friends that I mentioned so far, then the next one will surely come. And the next one is called compassion. So this is, sorry, I'm one behind. This is currency, exchanging faith for access to the holy name. And now we are on the compassion. So there are different levels of sensitivity. The lowest sensitivity is called apathy, which means you don't care at all. So total absence of sensitivity. You're oblivious of everyone around you. You don't care about their suffering, really. Next one is called sympathy. So sympathy means you can see suffering of others, but it's from a distance. You can see it from a distance, and then you might think, oh, yeah, I can see that person suffering, but that's it. Then the next level is called empathy. And empathy is, I feel what that person feels. I feel that suffering. Maybe I should do something about it, right? And that's where compassion comes in, because compassion is not just a word, it's actually a verb. It means action. We need to do something about it to, change, maybe help someone who is suffering. So compassion, I mean, how can we be really compassionate if we are not compassionate to every living being, right? So that also implies being compassionate toward ourselves. Same like with love, right? Cannot really be that if you're not all-inclusive. So, recognizing that we are all trapped, our true identities, we are souls, we are all trapped in these bodies, different types of bodies. Sure, we have different types of bodies, different levels of consciousness, but essence in all of these bodies is the same, right? Soul. So if we train our vision with the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, then we will see with our heart, and we will see that everyone around us is exactly the same as we are, right? Atma, meaning individual spark of consciousness. So it is very, very decremental on our spiritual journey if we try to disturb or check somebody else's spiritual progress. Specifically, if this is just to satisfy our tongue. So in other words, we should practice non-violence. We should, in a narrow sense of the word, we should stop eating animals, stop animal killing. And we should protect those who are weaker, who don't have their own voice. And in more broader sense of the word, non-violence means that we should share spiritual knowledge with anyone who is ready to hear. If we are not doing that, we are also committing violence. So, if we share this knowledge with everyone, there is a whole chance for those who hear it to wake up from this material slumber, from this material dream that we are all dreaming, right? And then if we wake up, then we can realize, hey, but this place is really not a place of happiness. This place is a place of misery. This is not my home. My home is in spiritual world, not here, right? There is all the chance for that. And if we don't do that, then we are just trapped in this cycle of birth and death, and we are just wasting a huge amount of time, right? We can never really die because we are eternal, but we can waste incredible amount of time. And we continue to suffer ourselves and others. So, yes, first we need to save ourselves, and then we can extend ourselves to others. That's also what Srila Prabhupada was hammering on, right? We try to, we learn something and then we immediately want to share it with others, but we really didn't learn it properly, then it's a mess. But if we first try to apply it on ourselves, then yes, we can share it with others. Then we can also try to help others. And this brings me to the next person, or I would say persons. We absolutely need to have on our journey. So I mentioned them before. These are Sherpas. Yeah, you see how little stuff he is carrying for us. So Sherpas are typically, one Sherpa per person going to the top. So Sherpa are friends of all the other friends I mentioned before. And so they are with us from the base camp. They carry all the things we will need for our journey to the summit. And they are doing that because we are too weak. You can only imagine how strong Sherpas then are. Not only that, they also know the way up because they went up and down so many different times. And they know how to get there. They know all the, tips and tricks, all the things that can, tip us over and we can fall down. So all these traps, obstacles. So basically I'm using Sherpas here as analogy for spiritual masters, teachers, guides in our lives, right? And when we sincerely pray to Krishna, when we sincerely pray to God or Krishna, please help me to go through this journey, help me to reach you, then he's sending us his representatives in the form of spiritual masters or teachers to help us. So now I would like to read to you a small excerpt. Sorry about this. From the article Back to Godhead, from the Back to Godhead magazine. And this was written on the February 1971 by Giriraj Swami. And it's titled The Genuine Spiritual Master. So who is the genuine spiritual master or guru? The true guru is person who says that Krishna, God, is our true friend. He does not pose himself as God or tell us that we can become God. The bona fide guru has various qualifications, and someone who is looking for a spiritual master must know the standards that the true guru must meet. So how should we recognize such a person? Simply stated, the ultimate goal of life is to develop love of God. And the duty of the spiritual master is to awaken this dormant love of God in the hearts of his students. So the spiritual master is servant of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the student becomes indirect servant of God. And if student serves God sincerely, God will ultimately reveal himself to the student in pure loving exchange. This process is described in Bhagavad Gita, and it's recommended as the highest yoga by the Supreme Lord himself, Sri Krishna, the original spiritual master. So spiritual master acts as a medium between us, so minute, and Krishna, so great. We are so limited that we cannot approach the unlimited God. But the spiritual master, out of his causeless mercy, makes himself available to help us approach the Supreme Lord. In other words, he is already on the top, but he decides, okay, I will climb down again and then guide this guy again to the top. Don't make me come again to the bottom to to help you again, right? So we need to be appreciative of that. The spiritual master has completely surrendered to God, and God has revealed himself fully to such a pure devotee. The spiritual master acts as a medium between ourselves, who are contaminated by our association with matter, and Krishna, God. In this sense, the spiritual master is even more merciful than God, since he comes and reveals himself to the conditioned soul, who is still contaminated by material association. But since the spiritual master is pure in his surrender to God and the will of God, he is, in a sense, one with God, one in purpose with God. Thus, the student who comes to hear and loves the spiritual master also comes to develop love of God. Now, the final friend is already mentioned when I mentioned our seventh friend, holy name, because it's our best friend, Krishna. And when I was preparing for this class, actually, I selflessly stole something from Katha Prabhu, from one of his lectures before, and I'm using it always as a explanation of what our goal is. So basically everything that I will tell you now is by the grace of Katha Prabhu. I'm so lucky to have you exactly here. Krishna means the all-attractive. It basically means the supreme lovable personality. Why? Because Krishna is at the core of everything. And Krishna's idea about creating the whole reality was, let's do it a bit about love. So let's make it all about love. And Krishna is not only the supreme lovable person, supreme lovable personality. Krishna does something just amazing. He expands himself as Radha, Srimati Radharani. And she is the power of love. And Krishna, the supreme being, the source from which everything comes, then says, okay, now we have Radha, and I am under her control. I am under the control of love. And now let there be all the other souls, Atmas, us, and let them be lovers as well. and I will put myself under the control of their love. That is Krishna. So there is all the opportunity to bring God under the control of our love. But you can see how deep, how pure our love needs to be to this to happen, right? Still, Krishna says it doesn't matter. I am actually attracted by any manifestation of love, even just a little service. He is won over by a little effort. He says, just make me a little offering. It doesn't need to be anything expensive, anything grandiose. Just offer me a leaf, a flower, fruit, even a little water. Krishna says, that will win me over. That will win me over only if it is offered by bhaktya, by love. So it shouldn't be a ritual. It should be really from the heart. So Krishna really wants heart. That's all what he wants. And this is exactly how we climb to the top. So thank you very much for bearing with this. Do you have any comments or questions? Or I just completely shocked you with my presentation and yes, please go ahead. Oh, I'll just put this because my hearing is really not that good, so I'm not listening to some music. Yes, please.
Actually, I had several questions came up, but I will try to stay with one for now. But I know I've been exploring different religions in my life, and I know there are like there are many similarities. There are more similarities than the opposite, and I think speaking truth is a very common one. To be honest and to trust in life. This is by being honest is a way to trust in life. But I had a very complicated situation recently, so I'm a little bit it's in my mind when we should be trusting and honest. Because I rented a room in France and I told my landlord how much money I had forgotten in a drawer, and he stole it. And acted like being someone else. He played like he was another person, and completely fooled me.
And it took me several days to process that. And I'm just wondering, and I'm trying to see it as a teaching instead of being angry at this person, and but still it's harder for me to trust suddenly, and I heard this expression, trust in God but tie your candle. And maybe I need to tie my candle even better. And I was wondering how much emphasis does Hare Krishna put on truth saying, and when should we just be silent or be tactical? Because maybe I need to be tactical next time someone asks me how much money I have put somewhere, and be like, oh, it's just some coins. If I said that, I would probably have kept it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Yeah, you bring so many wonderful points. Let me try to answer from my personal experience. So you are talking to someone who is also super naive. And I also lost huge amounts of money, not myself, also my wife as well with me, trusting others in the name of God. So, Very skeptical. Yes. And it's super painful, especially I'm coming from Croatia, so the amount of money we lost basically bound us, because we took some credits as well, and loans. And so if we would stay in Croatia, we would never pay them back. It's almost like slavery to the rest of your lives. You can imagine how, and it's not a big sum for living in Switzerland, but for Croatia it is. And then I was thinking a lot, how can I be so foolish? And
I'm a lawyer.
and she's a lawyer.
Okay, you are a couple.
We are a couple, right? She's my wife, and
Sorry.
I thought you were just talking.
she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. She got fooled. I'm working in IT. I'm supposed to figure things out. Nope. So I got fooled, completely. But now, reflecting back to all that ordeal, and this lasted for a long time, so it was not just overnight. Reflecting on that, actually, this brought me where I am right now. I have so much appreciation to the lesson. It was incredibly painful, and I couldn't understand it going through it. And I almost lost my faith in a sense. I lost completely trust in that person, but that person was supposed to represent God for me, So it's super, super difficult. And then I met some other persons, and it's again because my wonderful lawyer wife figured it out. So she met devotees who are really devotees, not pretending to be devotees. And then associating with them, we really learned what bhakti is all about. Then you really see that person, and he really cares about you. He doesn't care, if you have or she, if you have money or he cares for your spiritual life, and that's something you cannot really, mimic. You can sense that genuine thing deep down, right? And when you see that, when you observe that, of course, now second time you are much more careful, right? But when you see it on the level of heart, when you see how that person behaves and you really see it's genuine, it transforms you. And now, when I'm thinking about it, actually, I'm super grateful to went through all that. In a way, it's almost like my bad karma was taken away by this. And I mean, this is just my realization. I must have done something maybe in previous life to deserve this. Nothing is really, we are not innocent. We think we are innocent, but we lived so many lives in this circle of life and birth and death. And we accumulate bad karma, bad bank account, so to speak, of what we did to others, right? And you don't see it in this life because maybe it's something that you're carrying from before, right? So it's a tall order to really think about that if you don't have, some spiritual knowledge. But as I was cultivating more and more, it all started to make sense. I was thinking, okay, maybe I did something like that to someone else. And then this happened to me. What can I learn from that? And this is how I then, through my wife, met this other devotee who showed us what it's all about. And it totally blew my heart. And I'm indebted to that person because, I would otherwise probably decide to not be part of Hare Krishna because I was burned so badly, right? But he protected my friend, my faith. And this gave me strength to go further. So I don't know if this answers your question, and I know it's very individual, but maybe then this helps. And that's, God, if he decides to fool you, man, nothing can help you, So in that sense, he knows what we need to wake up. So he will send you the right person, sometimes a thief, to shake you up. So.
Yeah, it did shake up a bit. I'm just sometimes worried to be a doormat if I'm too spiritual. You know what I mean? Just, okay, you take my money. Okay, it's okay. You trick me. Okay, but you.
That's definitely. Yep. You're welcome.
But you should mention that in this whole situation, the best friend was again Krishna, and he was the one who we are now living in Switzerland, and we can pay all the debts. So it's just like you have to have faith. It's like what he said, you have to jump at one point and realize that Krishna can protect you. First he takes away everything, and then he gives you a lot also. But yeah, it's a complicated, there's more to say about it, but it's not only about trusting people, it's also about trusting God, because in the end, he took it from you, and he can also give it to you, but he just uses other people as instruments.
I'm not fighting reality, I think. Yeah, I mean, that's what I understand from it is surrender, to accept how it is and not fight reality, and maybe it will give you something better.
Yeah, and also like if you develop your relationship with him, it's like if we become friends, and I don't know, I invite you for lunch, and then you invite me for lunch, and there's an like exchange, there is a like activity in the relationship. So the same is with God. That's for you to, every one of us has to have their own experience. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. Yes. So it's what we got afterwards. But you know, karma, this karma that we go through, the purpose of karma is educational. So we need to learn something from it, right? So at the beginning, when you're going through that karma, you know, when you are paying debt, it's painful. It's super painful because you are so attached, right? You're attached to your money, you're attached to your everything, reputation. All of a sudden, and you feel like I'm such a fool. You're attached to your intelligence as well. How can I be so easily fooled? I thought I am a smart guy. Nope. Right? So because of this attachment, you're going through all this, but because karma is educational, the thing with karma is once you assimilate lecture, once you learn the lecture, two things happen. You will never need to go through the same test. That's option one. Or option two is you will be equipped that the next time this happens, you will just go through it with all the strength you need, you know, all the coping that you need. You will not be disturbed by it, right? You will realize, anyhow, everything is temporary in this world. I lost some little money. What to do? You know, it will come in some other way or form, right? But trust is super important. So, idea is that we put trust in God, we put trust in Krishna, not as just some kind of energy, but in Him as a person. He will never misuse it. Yes, He is the biggest trickster if He wants to fool you, but it's always good for you. If He wants to fool you, nothing will help you. But you will always benefit from it. And you should put all the trust and love in Him, because He's the only person who will never destroy that trust. That's something that you need to try. So it's like I use an analogy I heard from other devotees. It's like a jar of honey, right? I can show you a jar of honey, and maybe it's a dark honey, and you never tasted honey in your life, and you see this, and I'm telling you, this is so amazing, it's so sweet. And you're like, it looks like motor oil. I mean, what are you talking about? So you need to open the jar, you need to taste it for yourself. Same with chanting, same with experiencing this relationship with God. It's between you and God, I cannot tell you. I hope that helps. Do we have any other questions or comments maybe? No, then thank you so much. And please, there is prasadam served, spiritual food served upstairs. So please go and take some. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Harikatha Prabhu ki. So before you go, just one moment. Thank you very much, Harikatha Prabhu, for speaking us on this topic about the friends. And I think also this Swiss community is very thankful and fortunate to have you as a friend. And I just wanted to inform you, Prabhu is giving courses, a series of courses called Discovery. It's based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's a kind of an introductory course. And the next one starts in January, right? In 3rd of January. So on the website of our temple you can find more information. Also want to let you know, outside you can find a table of books. So if you want to get to know more about our Krishna consciousness philosophy, this ancient timeless philosophy, please check them out. Also Christmas is coming, so you might want to take some books for your friends as a gift. So please definitely check the books table outside and take some books with you. So now I invite everyone to our vegetarian feast, Prasharam. Hare Krishna.